And now we will introduce the two scholars that we have. Kalayjanae and Jordan are both joining us. And so if you guys want to introduce yourself, where you go to high school, what drew you to Stroud, and then if you have any idea of what you would like to do in college or as a potential like career path, whatever you're interested in, if you want to share it, go ahead. So Kalayjanae, if you'd like to go first.
Hi, I'm Clayton Curry. I go to Sierra High School. I'm interested in Stroud because I just love the idea of going to college. I don't exactly know where I want to go to college, so Stroud really stood out to me because I heard it's a private school and it's a really good school. So I definitely wanted to gain some interest by going to the Stroud Scholars Program, and I heard that it's a really good program. Also, I definitely would want to be a journalist or an actress when I grow up. Thank you.
My name is Jordan Barker. I went to Fountain Fort Carson High School. I'm a sophomore. My gifted and talented program at my school kind of introduced me to the Stroud Scholars thing. And I was like, I really want to see what opportunities I have when I actually get out of school, what post-secondary education schools are out there. So I was like, cool, Stroud Scholars thing. And I think I'm still pretty unsure of what I want to do when I grow up. Political science is definitely something I would like to do. Being a diplomat, like Chloe said, that's a big thing for me. International relations is something I'm interested in, and also human services, so something like that, like customer service. I'm also interested in that, but also just getting to travel abroad and that kind of stuff.
Nice, awesome, thank you. How is the first year's program so far for you? I think Chloe, was that a...
Yeah, I can go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I actually did my interview to get the job to work with Stroud, it was the day the school actually just, it was the day right after they said they were going to close it. So I was kind of like, oh, do I even still apply for this? Is it even going to happen still? So I was really, during the summer, I would get the emails for everything. And it was kind of like this thing in the back of my mind that helped me during the pandemic, because it gave me kind of a goal to look forward to, that, oh, I'm going to actually have a job in the summer. I'm going to actually be able to talk to people that aren't in my house. So it was that. And then the week that we actually did the programming, it was really cool to see how we managed to do everything through Zoom. I mean, I'll admit, I don't think anyone cares for Zoom that much, and you get kind of tired of it. But after a while, it's this good thing because we were able to do the program anyway. And I feel like we've managed to make connections with our mentees, and then just the other people that work in Stroud, like with Jim and Addie. I feel like I've managed to make a connection with them, and they really know who I am now. And yeah, I feel like Stroud it sucks that it had to start this year because of the pandemic, but I think it's also good that it started this year, because this cohort's going to have its sort of different bond than you would think. And it's really cool that it's the first year. So we kind of could be like, oh, we started from the bottom kind of with dealing with everything, and we can kind of do whatever now. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked the program. We don't have anything to compare it to because this was the first year. So it was kind of weird to create it and recreate it at the same time to fit with all the COVID stuff. But yeah, if there's one thing it's consistent. It's really nice. We meet every month for our programming, and throughout this whole time, I've got to know my mentees, and I hope that they feel like this has still been helpful for them. Whenever we get together, I think it's just a really positive experience. And yeah, right now it's really about community, which I think is exactly what it should be right now. So it went well. I'm still so glad to be a part of it, and I'm still very excited to meet all of my mentees in person, which has yet to happen.
Kalayjanae, do you have any thoughts about the first year program?
Yes, I do. I've actually loved Stroud ever since I've been in it. I definitely feel like we was able to build a community and build a foundation in Stroud, which I love because not in many programs I get to gain a relationship with my peers and my mentors. So I really do love Stroud. I feel like it's a great way to connect with people, and they're always there, whether it's for school, personal problems, or anything.
I definitely agree with that. Like, I think Stroud for the first year has been so open. It's been such a good experience. Of course, it was under pretty bad circumstances considering we didn't get to actually do stuff in person, but everything, we made it work, and everything kind of went into something. And I feel like it's been the best ever. I think everybody has worked really hard to make sure that every kid gets the support that they need and the resources that they need. And that's what I expect from a kind of like a college, readiness program or something just that is just trying to build a community. It's been very, very positive, and I love it.
Great, thank you. And then before we get into the other questions I had, we do have a question from the chat. This is for Kalejane and Jordan. She's wondering how the interview process and the application process was for you both.
Well, I can go first. For me, this is my first college interview, filling out a college application. So it was definitely interesting and surprising for me. When writing the essay, I felt like I got to learn more about myself when writing this application, because it did ask some very interesting questions, such as what are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? What can you offer to the program? So I definitely got to learn a lot about myself. And it was just an interesting, amazing program and opportunity that I love to have. So thank you guys for that.
So for me, first I had to, of course, write the essay, and I was really excited about that because I love being able to show off everything that I am, everything that I can do, just kind of putting yourself on a paper. I love that part because it really allowed me to express myself. And I learned a lot about that from my school. They were trying to help me, make sure that I wrote my paper the best that I could. And then we made it to the second wave, and then we had the phone call and the interview, and that was just another chance for me to get across everything about me. It was, for me, it was a little scary, but I'm very confident in that kind of stuff. And I just felt really good to have the opportunity to do it. And it was my first college kind of thing too. So I was so excited to get into it. And I was just like, that at least shows that I have something to work towards and something that I can show off and something that I can improve into.
This is a question for Jessa and Chloe. What does being a mentor mean to you?
For me, it means like giving back, or like giving the people that I see at my high school who would really excel like in a great college, but who just either didn't know about it, didn't know how to apply, or just all of the things that college access is trying to fix. It's like giving justice to them, because when I came to Colorado College, it was so exciting, but it was also really shocking. And I don't know, it just kind of made me sad to like see and to think about how many students are out there that could really be thriving in this environment that just didn't have the resources because of their income or because of their identity or anything that just seemed unfair to me. So being a part of Stroud is just important. It's not even like a job. It's just something that's really important to me, and that I couldn't imagine like going through Colorado College without doing something involving college access, because that's really like all I thought about when I got here.
Yeah, I also agree with Jessa. Like when I was in high school, growing up here, people act like CC's very, you have to be rich to get in, like, oh, don't even apply because just go to UCCS or just go to a state school because it's cheaper. But yeah, I was told that by mentors at my high school. So when I heard about Stroud, I was like, no, I want to get these like kids that actually care about their education. That's something I'm very passionate about, because I know in the American education system, it's very easy just to get lumped into a group with everyone, and not everyone has the same passion in their education. So I think those that do have that passion and do want to go to school should be able to have opportunities like Stroud that are tailored towards them to help them. And you shouldn't have to pay for these private tutors, or you shouldn't have to have family connections. It should just be purely based on your merit. And that's like there's hardly any merit scholarships at CC too. So the Stroud program, I feel like you have to get in based on your merit. So these kids that will be able to get this financial aid package at the end, it's really important. And I feel like I'm rambling because I didn't really think before I saw that. Like, I thought about the questions, but when I get asked them, it's just all these things pop in. But yeah, I just want to help these kids get to where they think they should be and where they believe that they deserve to be without anything that's not in their power stopping them.
Great, thank you. I don't think you're rambling at all. I think it sounds great. And so this is a question for all of you. What have you gotten out of like the mentoring program piece of Stroud? Janae, if you would like to go.
Yeah, of course I would like to go. With my mentor is Chloe, and I really got to gain a great bond with her. Definitely, I got to learn how, when writing our newspaper, I got to learn a lot of cool writing tips. And she's always checking in on us, making sure we're doing everything great, if we're okay during the pandemic. So I definitely got to gain a new friend and a mentor at the same time. I think it was great. Thank you.
That's really sweet of you to say thank you. And it makes me feel good because sometimes I feel like I don't do enough for this. But oh, I can go next if you want.
Sure.
I feel like I've gained bonds with them too, with my mentees. And I feel I've never really worked with high schoolers. So that's really different for me because like during my freshman year, I worked with kindergartners, and then all throughout high school, I worked with old hippies at the radio station. So like it's two very different age groups I've worked with. So working with high schoolers and actually talking to kids, but young adults at the same time, I've learned how to tailor my conversations around that and how to connect with them because I don't talk to them like I talk to my teenage sisters, of course. It's like, it's still professional, but in a way that's like, oh, I understand where you're coming from because that was just me a couple years ago. So I tell them what I want to hear, what I would want to hear as their age. And if I could have had a mentor from like a college age mentor, that would have been cool because then it wouldn't be like most of my mentors were like in their 60s and older. So they're like really old, not really old, but they have like a lot more experience and it can be kind of daunting talking to them. But I feel like because I'm so close in age to the Stroud mentees, it can be more realistic for them to look into their future.
I agree with that a lot. I think that with Jessa, she's been so sweet and just so generous and so nice. And I think that all the mentors have, from what I've heard, it's been great to get to, talk to somebody that actually kind of understands you and not someone who is trying to be over you as much as they are trying to be with you. Because college is, it's an experience for everybody. Just like the Stroud program is an experience for Collegian and I. We're still in high school. We're still trying to graduate. But having those older people who are still close to our age range, they know pretty much all there is to know about life out, and kind of being a young adult, an actual adult. And I think that that's really cool to actually get to speak with people who don't talk down to you, people who are working with you, and people who are really just trying to help you, grow up and kind of just be the next generation, be the best person you can be, and just work your way up in the world and learn. That's a big thing, just getting to experience things. And I think that the mentors have done such a great job with just really making us feel great about ourselves and helping us whenever we need it. And I really appreciate that.
Jordan, you're awesome. So being a mentor, I feel like for me it's like somewhere a mix of like between being a big sibling, being a mentor, and being a friend. Like it's really just open and close. And I don't know, like when I was going through the college process, I had so many doubts. I was so nervous. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I would get in. I didn't know if I did get in, if I could pay for it. And then when I did get in, like I didn't know if I should go. But I had nothing to worry about because like I was a great student and I was really passionate about school, and I've really been able to thrive at Colorado College, and there's so many opportunities here. So I just feel like there's probably a lot of people who are going through that same thing, like these students who don't believe in themselves for whatever reason. So I love to encourage them and like kind of be a cheerleader and just like give them that confidence that I can see that they should have, that they might be in a place that they can't see for themselves right now.
Thank you all for sharing. This one is a little less deep. But this is for all of you. What has been your favorite academic year program so far? And if it's like an academic year program or maybe even a program from this summer too.
I'm going to choose one that's not academic just because it was my favorite, but that was when we played online games together. And I loved it. We were playing like Among Us, which if you're in high school, you probably know what that is, and a lot of Jackbox games. And it was just nice to see everyone having so much fun. And I could just like feel that everyone needed the community right now. And that's what I love about Stroud. Like it's really new and it's pretty small, so we can be adaptable to all of the students' needs. And we're very open. It's not intimidating. It's just a nice community that's there for each other. And we have fun and we learn.
Oh, I think my favorite had to be the newspaper that we did, because my group was the first one to do the newspaper. So it was kind of challenging because we didn't really have anything to base it off of. And I just had this idea that it was going to be like one of the newspapers you see in like a teenage high school sitcom, like, oh, we all make our stories and then we put it together in like the little cute thing. But and it was kind of like that, because when I thought of the idea, I wanted it to be something cute, and well, not cute, but like fun, that the kids could look back on and like when they're older and be like, hey, I remember doing that, because that's always fun to do. But yeah, I liked getting to see my mentees' different writing styles, and just because I let them pick whatever they wanted to write about. So that was pretty cool. And to see the final project of it, and then to see that, like, to know that's something that people who aren't directly related into Stroud, but people who are they could randomly just look it up one day, will see, is pretty cool.
Yes, for me, I would definitely have to agree with Chloe. I think mine was the newspaper because I do want to be a journalist. So I love reporting people's opinions. I know I did Jordan's interview. So I definitely loved, it was definitely another way to like read report on being a journalist. It was definitely just a way to get out of my comfort zone and experience some things I will experience in my career in the future. And I just had a great time. I definitely also got to see everybody's writing experience, how everybody writes. So I think that was very helpful for me too.
Okay, so I like the summer program a lot. I really like just that entire week. It was something new every single day. And what I was expecting out of this program was to get to just see all the different outlets of different, people, all the different Colorado College kind of just higher ups that had stuff to say and had stuff to just talk to us about. So all the different things that we learned throughout that program, I can't really pick everything out. There's just so much that we did that week, and I just got to learn so much, and that was really cool. But what was really fun was just getting to watch Into the Spider-Verse, because I was putting off that movie for such a long time. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch another Spider-Man movie. I don't know if I'll like it. And I was so wrong. It was the best movie ever. And it had to have been probably the best thing for me at that time, because it was just right before school was about to start again for me. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I was just dreading school, and getting to watch the movie, I was so excited. I was so happy after watching it. I was like, this is the best movie ever. And just the fact that Stroud was able to do that, even though it was a movie, that was really, really good. It really boosted my spirits and made me feel really good.
Cool, great. Yeah, no, I love that movie so much. It's so great. I think going off of that question for Kalejne and Jordan, What was your biggest takeaway from the classes this summer? So the writing class and the QR class.
I can go first. I would say definitely my biggest takeaway was learning how to state my opinion as a fact. So that way it wouldn't come off as rude to anybody else, but that way it would be a debatable topic and kind of argument to discuss with other peers. Because I learned that in my group we was writing about racism today in the world and society. And I know that that can be a very controversial topic, so I was definitely able to learn how to translate my opinion as a fact. So yeah, that was definitely beneficial to me.
And for me, it was a little bit more broader. I'd say I just learned to, you know, go out into social media, go out into news and everything like that, and just in conversations with people, and kind of just look at everything with an open mind, but also with like a magnifying glass. I think it's something I was really passionate about before even getting into the Stroud program, was just fake news and that kind of stuff and perspective. And just a big thing for me that I took away from it was that you want to look at everything with kind of like, you want to analyze it. You don't want to take everything at face value. You really need to kind of question everything that exists and just kind of try to seek out the truth, but don't believe everything that somebody tells you. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned. Don't, believe everything that people say. You really need to go into things with facts. You need to go into things with a kind of like a critique of things, and just not believing everything and trying to get manipulated by a lot of things. And I think that's an important thing, especially for our generation, is to just, get the straight facts and to have an educated conversation on things, and don't take opinions, I guess you could say, but not trying to go against collegiate, but like, don't take what somebody says and have it completely just kind of like trump everything that you believe. You got to keep yourself pretty open-minded with things.
The last question that I have for you all, and then if any of you have any additional questions, feel free to send them in the chat. But the last question I have for all of you, with school going virtual and normal life being upended, how has Stroud supported you?
For me, it helps me look at the bigger picture, because this is a program that I'm going to keep working in throughout the years, and the students will be here too, and we have this big goal for it, college access. So this year, each day was like crazy, and each day kind of like consumed me, but with Stroud, I could really step back and remember like, oh yeah, like these are goals and passions that I have, and this is like something that I'm working towards. So it really helped me like not to get bogged down in all the like COVID craziness.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. And another thing is that, like, this is going to sound kind of selfish, but it's a good thing. So because of the pandemic, I had to stop a lot of my normal work, and it kind of messed with my self-esteem, because it's like, oh, the stuff I was doing I can't do because a lot of it was centered around interactions with people, and I was just kind of stuck at home. But when Stroud started in, I think it was like August was our first, was it August or July? It was July. Yeah. It kind of gave me like, oh, I am actually needed to do something, to know that I have this group, my mentees, that I can actually support, and that if I, like, I guess what I want to say is that, like, it feels good to just be needed in the group, and to be in this program specifically, to be in its first group, the first year it's been around, and to help make it grow into whatever it could be. It could be like, I can't wait to see how it is when we can actually be in person. It just feels really nice to know that I'm going to help with that.
I definitely feel like this program has offered me a lot, with all the opportunities it has provided for me, and with all the support it has also provided for me. I would definitely say that being in Stroud is a great stress reliever, because I know that school for me can definitely stress me out. And when we do a lot of the fun activities, such as creating the pizza, movie night, just talking with our mentors, checking in, I think that that was a really good stress reliever for me. And I think that this is just a great way to gain college experience. So I'm definitely thankful for it.
And I think the Stroud Scholars Program for me has given me kind of given me the justification to just take a moment for myself, deviate from school for a second and just focus on yourself and be happy. Especially during the pandemic, it's been hard because literally my social interactions at school, my friends outside of school, all of that was kind of just taken away. And with everything being digital, you really have to find something else to kind of dedicate yourself towards or have fun with. And the Stroud Scholars Program was kind of that placeholder for that. But also just with the tutoring and with the feeling that I can probably contact anybody in the Stroud Scholars Program with a problem and they could help me out with it. I think that's having that comfort, having that, peace of mind that if there's any issue that I have, I can just, I have a whole group of people that are there to help me. That's a big thing for me, just having someone to rely on. That's what the Stroud Scholars Program has been for me. But I also know they have so many resources and they can answer a lot of my questions. And that's another thing. It's just an all-in-one kind of thing. It's so much good, so much just heart in that, and they can help me with my mental health, but also just stuff that it can help me, after kind of when I grow up, what I want to do after school. That's what I've been looking for as an answer to that. And the Stroud Scholars Program has been doing that for me. It's just helped me, find my way through what I want to do. And also kind of just giving me a lot of encouragement and inspiration for what I want to do when I grow up. I think that that's a big thing also from the Stroud Scholars Program, is to just be like, if you want to advocate for this, do this. It's been giving me a lot of just encouragement to do stuff.
Thank you all for sharing. We also have another question in the chat. I think mainly directed towards Kalejanae and Jordan, but Justin and Chloe, if you have anything to add too. But what would you say to someone who has some hesitancy on applying to the program, who isn't quite sure about it yet?
Honestly, what I would say take the opportunity and do what you can now, because when you grow up and when you go to college, it's very important that you gain the experience that you need now for college. So I know that for me and my family, I've always wanted to go to college, and since I will be the first one actually going to college, this is a big thing for my family. And I know that the process may be hard, but go through it and take the opportunity, and I promise you it'll pay off.
And I would say just go for it. I think that whether you have good grades or bad grades, or you're good at acting or you're not good at acting, or everybody has something that they can do. And you don't have to have straight A's in order to pursue a good college like Colorado College. I think everybody is entitled to pretty much enrich and really just build off of what they're able to do, and also grow from the things that they can't do. And if you think you can't, you can. And even if you might have a lot of roadblocks in the way, there's nothing stopping you. And I don't want to just say that there's always more fish in the sea, but there is. If one college doesn't like you, there's a whole other world out there, and there's plenty of people out there who want to have what you have. I think everybody is super unique with that. Everybody has a power, everybody has something they can do. And you have the right to go into that and to really take that and take the world by storm with what you're able to do. So I'd say go for it.
I would just say it's really nothing to be intimidated about. Like, we're here for you. I don't know if that's a student or a parent who asked, but if you're at this open house, that's probably a sign that you should apply, because you care enough to be here and you're interested in it. So, I mean, go for it. Like, I think self-doubt is another problem in college access, because people think that they can't do it for some reason, but there's just no truth to that. So there's nothing to lose and there's so much to gain.
Yeah, I would agree with what Jessa said. Honestly, I feel this about everything that you need that has an application process. It's especially because the Stroud one, there's no application fee. I don't think there is, or anything like that. It's just put yourself out there, especially now at this age where the kid, as a freshman, to start that process so young is so important, I believe, because all your life is just putting yourself out there. And the more comfortable you get with that, the easier it is to get jobs, to just meet new people. And once you get out of this mindset that like, oh, maybe I'll get rejected, it's like there's still something to learn from that. Like there's always something to learn from, even from rejection. And if you don't get rejected, then you get into it and that's good. But like either way, you're going to gain something out of it. And also in high school, I feel like they don't really teach you how to apply to colleges or to jobs unless like your school has a specific class for it. So like I say take all of the opportunities you can, just practicing applying for things, because that's what's going to get you. When you're in college, you have to do a lot of that anyway. So it's always good to start young and just gain that skill, because I don't think a lot of people talk about that enough.
If there's any additional questions, Jim or Pedro, do you guys have any questions for the panel?
That's great. And then I'm glad you got good feedback. Truly, I think I'm more just inspired and affirmed by all of our students and scholars. I think I had a kind of just like throwaway line from earlier about the Stroud Scholars Program being a space for kind of like motivated and engaged peers to come together. And I think our scholars and student mentors are like great examples of just that, like amazing, inspired, motivated peers that are coming together. And I'm really thrilled that maybe Stroud and CC gets to be a space for that interaction. I do see another question. Addie, do you want to take that?
This actually may be a question more for me, Jim, and Pedro. But it just says, why is the program limited to 2 subjects? Why not include other subjects such as leadership, development, and science?
I can take an early stab at it. So that's a really good question. And one thing that we wanted to make sure that was reiterated in this academic enrichment program was the ideas that, critical thinking and communication are going to be the cornerstone of anything you do, not just in college, but in life. So we really want to give students the foundation and really want to start to kind of hone in on that early on in the program. Because no matter what you do, no matter what college you go to, your writing, your critical thinking, your ability to research is going to be absolutely paramount or absolutely necessary for going forward. And so with that said, there are other aspects that are kind of included in the program. That's why there's a social and academic piece. And I'll let maybe Addie and Jen kind of talk about the leadership development and how even science is related to how we do. But the reason why there's 2 subjects is because we really feel that those subjects are going to actually help propel and prepare students for college success. Whereas leadership development and science are also included in our program, but they're just included in more, I don't want to say informal ways, but indirect ways, actually. So.
Yeah, I think just building on that, you're right. Those are sort of like the foundational skills that we really want to drive home. But then we really try to avail of the resources across campus for things like leadership and exposure to the variety of what a liberal arts education can be. And so we do that intentionally by, when we talked about having academic presentations, we try to have presentations that cross science, humanities, social sciences, so that students are kind of getting a sense of what their interests are, but what a liberal arts education can be. And it's meant to be kind of a graduated approach. And so this first year was really just introducing students to core concepts, maybe basic concepts of leadership, of what art in college is, what activism, and how they kind of intersect. We had an interesting presentation with our innovation and creativity. Again, just trying to spark interests in our students. And then next year, that'll grow. We'll have meetings with our career services offices, and they'll talk about how do you build a resume? How do you apply for internships? What we'll do like strengths builder, like what skills kind of are inherent in our scholars, and how would they try to flex those muscles in like different scenarios. And so we're trying to build that competency over the 3 years through a pretty broad kind of array of interests being represented. So we're not replicating what they're doing in high school. Rather, we are sort of hoping to inspire interest in new fields or maybe compound existing skills in certain fields.
Yeah, and I think also with like in the summer talking about like those critical inquiry seminars or those extracurricular programs outside of the two main classes, those are not limited to like any subject, any topic. So they're kind of all over the place. So we had one session this summer with the Quad, which is like a partnership between like 4 different colleges who talked about like business and entrepreneurship. Jim mentioned we did like a strength finders, which is more towards like the leadership development and like personal development of like skills, which is like, I guess it was like more, not necessarily like a personality test, but it was a test that you did to talk about like what your biggest strengths were and like how to utilize those into what you want to do, or how to utilize those like in conjunction with everyone else's strengths. So the scholars, and I think the mentors also did that one this summer. It's really not trying to limit to anything, but just sort of broadening horizon, broadening sort of ideas and questions and thoughts and stuff. So, oh, we have another question for Kalijane and Jordan. But was being a part of the Stroud Scholars Program and doing school at the same time difficult?
For me, being a part of the Stroud Scholars Program and being a part of school, I don't feel like it was difficult for me because the Stroud Scholars Program is always willing to work with your schedule and guide you down the right path. So they're able to help you with time management, help you with anything you need. So I know for me, sometimes I am struggling in school to write my essay. So sometimes I will ask my mentors and my groups to read over my essays. Stroud is just a really helpful and supportive program. I don't think that it will be very hard for me. I have not encountered any challenges with Stroud Scholars Program.
Same for me. It hasn't been pretty much like, I feel like the Stroud world and my high school world, they haven't really collided at all. And that's, it's been a good thing. I haven't had to worry about my assignments and also doing something for Stroud. And I think Stroud, even though it seems like such a higher level kind of form of education and teaching for me than high school is for me sometimes, I would expect it to be challenging, but really the only challenging part about it is just, you have so many things to choose from and there's so much you can get from the program. The challenge for it is just being able to, just making sense of it all. Like, I think it's so good with it. And the fact that the programs are during the summer, really the real kind of academic programs are over the summer, that's been a really good help when it comes to school. But besides that, they provide so many resources to the point where I wouldn't be concerned if the Stroud Scholars Program was doing its stuff over the school year, because they have so many resources to help you with that stuff. So it really wasn't that challenging for me.
I throw in one thing, just because something that we try to deal with is sort of scheduling, because we are talking about 25 students and their families' schedules. And so we have our kind of Blockly all cohort programs. And sometimes that frankly doesn't work for everybody. Like, we've had people who, just have family commitments that they can't make those. And so we try to be flexible with that. And so for students that maybe missed one of those all cohort programs, we usually just send them a prompt and say, this is like kind of the core concept that we addressed in this. Maybe would you send us a quick reflection essay just to talk about like maybe how you would think about a specific topic. So we want to make sure that we are continuing to engage all of our students if they aren't able to make the sort of in-person, the all cohort program, because we understand that this is a odd year and people are stretched pretty thin. And so, I think it's important for us to be flexible and accommodating because it is a kind of unique time.
And do you guys have any last additional thoughts you would like to share?
Yes, I have one. I would just like to thank the Stroud Scholars Program for just everything that they have done for me and for all the opportunities they've provided for me. And I would say if anyone's thinking about joining the program, join the program.
If anyone is intimidated about joining the program, there's like no reason to be. It's not like you're applying to an elite college, you're applying to a college access program. So as long as you're interested and passionate, you really shouldn't be worried.
I agree. Like, just go for it. if you're looking to get into Colorado College or just to apply for it, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. And if there is something out there that is stopping you, just get up and go for it again, because it's such a great experience. And no matter what, you will learn something from it. And no matter what, I can guarantee that you will take something good away from it. And also thank you to the Stroud Scholars Program for providing so much for me.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, go for it, Chloe.
Well, like Jessica said, if you're in this open house right now, basically, like, the Stroud Scholar Program is meant for you. It's something for you. And it's like you have, like she said, it's not applying to an elite college or something like that. Like, it is made specifically for you to enrich your life. So I would most definitely, if you have the opportunity, you should just take it.
Thank you all so much for all of our panelists for joining us and giving such great answers. I think you guys said everything way better than I could. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Addie, for moderating.
To this question, this is for Pedro and Jim. So Kalijah and Jordan, you're both good to go. See you guys tomorrow at our program.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
This is for Jim and Pedro. It says, if I get accepted into the program and I move out of the Colorado Springs area, am I still eligible to stay in the program?
So yeah, that we do recognize that there are certain families that might have to move, that might have to leave the Colorado Springs area if you're accepted into the after you're accepted into the program. But because the program is a residential program, especially the summer component is really the focal point of the Stroud Scholars Program, where that interaction, living in the dorms, being like mimicking, being in college, going to classes, because that takes place on our campus. Right now, we don't have the funds to currently fund students from out of the area to bring them to campus through the program. So unfortunately, if a student moves away, unfortunately, you won't be able to continue participating in the program. And also the yearly academic activities also include things like going to certain places in the Pikes Peak region and actually requiring you to physically be in some of those places. It was a little different this year because we were in a pandemic and everything was virtual. But for the foreseeable future, we imagine the program being in person, and part of the enrichment of the program is actually connecting with people in person. So unfortunately, if you live outside of the region, or you move away from the Colorado Springs area, we don't have the funding to bring you back to campus. That said, once you've been selected as a Stroud Scholar, you can always put that on your resume or your application for college, and that can also be a really positive thing that you can actually still hold on to. We wouldn't say don't use us as a reference or anything like that. And certainly you might be able to connect with any one of our staff and still have that informal relationship with us. But in terms of the formal program, if you moved away from the Pikes Peak region, that would be prohibitive of you continuing in the program.
11:55. Let's take maybe a couple minutes and then regroup.
Okay. Sounds good.
See you in 5.